Before we begin, big thank you to those in the previous Red Wings video who commented Batman. That was our key word. Stick around to the end of this one for a chance to be featured in the next Red Wings video. Let's begin. Oh man, Lego, you talk so much about Cole Caulfield. Why not giving another guy a chance? Okay, let's go ahead and do that. We saw some comments in the previous video about Cole Caulfield. Why don't you talk about Moritz Seider? And you know what? That's what we're gonna do. I want to do that here today. Because taking a look at some of the statistics of what Moritz Seider has accomplished so far in the SHL Playoffs, things have been so astronomically good that I cannot stress just how incredible some of these statistics are. So, for Moritz Seider, a guy who many Red Wings fans have fallen in love with over the past few seasons, but just in case you're brand new, Moritz Seider is that surprise pick that the Red Wings had at the 2019 NHL entry draft. They selected him 6th overall over guys like Trevor Zegras, like Philip Broberg, like Cole Caulfield, like Vasily Podkolzin, that were projected towards going above Moritz Seider in the draft. The pick was seen as a big anomaly back then, but eventually, over the next few hours, to be honest, Red Wings fans really opened up to the pick. He's a right-handed defenseman, he's 6'4", he's a big guy, and after getting drafted, he spent a year in the AHL, eventually going over to the SHL this year. In the SHL, playing for the Rögle BK, he has displayed himself not only as a very good shutdown defensive defenseman like he was touted to be back at that 2019 NHL entry draft, but his offensive side to his game has really started to come about because it was something that was kind of being limited in the way that he was developed beforehand. Now he's in a spot where he's one of the most important defensemen on the Rögle BK, a team in the SHL, the top pro men's league in Sweden, and his performance has been so notable that he is one of the best defensemen in the entire league, as he is a finalist for the Best Defenseman in the League award. Now, we've made all of our videos talking about Moritz Seider and the updates and talking about what he has done. We know the points, we know the awards. The Elite Prospects Award was also something that he was given as well. But in the SHL playoffs, Moritz Seider is currently at 8 total games played with 3 points. 0 goals, 3 assists, 3 points. You might think, oh, that's kind of a drop-off. What's going on with this guy? That's some pretty low production. And you know what I'm going to say to that? I'm going to say, please just hold off for a second. Let's go over just exactly what has happened with the Rögle BK thus far, and then we will make some judgments as to what's going on later. So the Rögle BK, because they were the second seed, they actually kicked off their 2021 SHL playoffs in the quarterfinals. They already had themselves a ticket in, and they played against the 7th seeded Frölunda Hockey Club. They played 4 games over there, and guess what happened? Hey, they won all of them. They won Game 1 4-0, Game 2 5-2, 5-0 in Game 3, and then a 6-1 victory in Game number 4. They outscored the Frölunda Hockey Club 20-3 in 4 games played. So, yeah, that's a pretty good matchup, I would say. Next up in the semifinals, Rögle played up against the Skellefteå AIK, and things were crazy in this matchup because the home team won every single game. We didn't have an away team win a single game in this 5-game series. Rögle won games 1 and 2, Skellefteå won games 3 and 4, and then Rögle took things out with a very convincing 4-0 win in Game 5, and that was actually yesterday, so that's why we're making this video here. Interesting thing to note here, though, that Moritz Seider was actually assessed an undisclosed injury in Game number 2. He suited up for 11 minutes in that game, did not play Game 3, and then came back for Games 4 and 5. Now, most of the production he has had actually didn't come in that series against the Frölunda Hockey Club, even though they actually just gave Frölunda a pretty good whooping, I would say. But the majority of Seider's production has come lately against Skellefteå AIK, where in Games 4 and 5 he did indeed score some assists. You can see the ice logs in what exactly is going on here. When Seider is on top of his game, he is out there playing 26 minutes a night. He's playing 20 minutes a night in the big final Game 5, where they took a very convincing win. Previously, he had been given big minutes as well, sometimes in the regular season. In the playoffs, it was kind of limited a little bit more. He was given more 17, 18 minutes, but the Rögle BK were kind of just whooping Frölunda really hard, so they didn't really need to play Seider all too much. But things get really crazy when you consider some of the facts. Here's a tweet from Ice Hockey Gifts on Twitter, and it's kind of the entire reason I'm making this video here. Moritz Seider so far in the playoffs leads all players with a +10, and he is yet to be on the ice for a goal against at any strength. Dude, are you kidding me here? You could say, oh, plus minus, that's like the loser stat. Who cares about plus minus? And yeah, to some extent, I agree. Plus minus is a very big reflection more so of the team a player plays for rather than their individual performance on that team. At least in the majority of cases, that's what I mostly believe plus-minus to be assessing there. But the fact that Moritz Seider is indeed the number one plus-minus guy in the entire SHL playoffs, which the majority of those guys are actually on Rögle BK, go figure. But the fact that in 8 games played, some of the games where he is out here playing 25, 20 minutes a night, he's been on the ice for 0 goals against on the power play, on the penalty kill, and at even strength. That's what all strengths mean, by the way. No matter the strength, Seider is out there keeping the puck out of his own net. Which is why, when I take a look at Seider and the way that he's been playing this season, in the playoffs especially, I think more so about just his overall defensive presence. I think less about the points he's producing, even though the points may not be what a lot of people would have wanted. Oh, only 3 points in 8 games played. What a loser. Like, no, that's not what we're talking about here. This guy's out here knowing what needs to be done to make his team win hockey games. And that's why he's out here as a guy who is not allowing anything to go by. There's a reason why he is a finalist for the best defenseman in the SHL. There's a reason he was given the award for the best junior player in the SHL this year by Elite Prospects. This is a guy who's already playing big, heavy minutes in the top pro men's league in Sweden, and the way things are going, I would not be surprised if next season with the Red Wings, Steve Yzerman and the crew are just like, okay, let's go out there and play Seider 20 minutes a night. Philip Hronek needs a rest, doesn't he? It's why we made that video talking about it before, right? That Seider was a lot better of an all-round defenseman in the SHL than Vic Hedman and Rasmus Dahlin were when they were juniors in the SHL. Now, granted, the age is a very big difference there. The fact that Seider was like 19 when he did this, and Hedman and Dahlin were like 17 and 18. But still, it's an important part to note that there have indeed been respected hockey journalists in Sweden talking about how Seider has been a better defenseman overall than some of the best defenders in the league right now and one of the best to be in the next few years. So for Seider, as a big, physically mature, smart, and offensively capable guy, I see no reason to not play him in the NHL next season. At the very least, give him a chance. If we have a preseason next year, I would say 100% guaranteed he suits up and he gets his chance. Now, whether or not he's good enough to stick around, I'd say it's likely, but I don't want to say it's guaranteed, mostly because we just know how Detroit loves to develop their guys. But there's nothing that he has done so far this year or last year that has said to me that he does not deserve that chance. Like, come on, how are you going to allow 0 goals against as a top minute-eating defenseman in the playoffs in 8 games? He's just a defensive clamp out there. He's just going out there making sure that nobody is even thinking about trying to get by him, because no, man, if you try to do that, he can just shove you off the puck and be on his way. Even though I love my Cole Caulfields and I love my Vasily Podkolzins, there's a reason Seider was ranked number 1 by Craig Button in the top NHL prospects list. And so as this playoff series, this playoff round goes on, we'll have ourselves the finals, which is starting, I think, tomorrow. Pretty sure it's going to be tomorrow because I think it's going to be starting on May 1st, if I recall correctly. But once we have ourselves the final starting up between the Rögle BK and the Växjö Lakers, things are going to be really interesting because Växjö was seeded number 1, Rögle was seeded number 2. These are the 2 best teams in the SHL going at it. This will be the true test for Moritz Seider, going up against one of the best players in the entire league, E. Pettersson. And no, it's not Elias, it's his older brother Emil. Whether we see how good Seider does there or how poorly he does, I know Red Wings fans are going to be all over it. So talk to me in the comments what you thought about Moritz Seider, his playoffs so far, the fact that he hasn't allowed a goal against at any strength as a guy getting big minutes in 8 full games played and in 2 full series. So absolute madness over there out of Moritz Seider, in my opinion. Let me know how you think this is going to translate into the NHL, how exactly he should be deployed under Jeff Blashill's system, if Blashill actually does come back. I mean, that's a different story for another day. But Seider in his own right is giving us many things to talk about, so I want you to tell me in the comments what you think about all this stuff. Also, if you made it to the end of this video, then comment down Eric Gelinas, because he is indeed Seider's teammate on the blue line. A very nice NHL throwback right there. Hope you enjoyed this video. Josh Rolls 99, and bye.